Welcome back everyone. Today in this class, let us discuss about the electronic commerce information publishing technology. As the World Wide Web grown well, the growth of the World Wide Web can be attributed to its ability to integrate a variety of information from distributed servers. Okay, the World Wide Web contains the information which is taken from distributed servers, that is from different servers. So those information should be integrated. During the process of integration, the web addresses several issues and also it offers some of the advantages. The advantages are platform transparency, distribution transparency, information type transparency, interactive, dynamic, and graphical and navigational. Okay, now we are going to discuss the advantages one by one. The first one, platform transparency. While we access something to the web, it is done through a piece of software which is known as a browser. Okay, all of us searching or accessing something on the web, isn't it? But actually it is done through a piece of software. The software is nothing but called browser. Okay, whether the browser is running on the Windows platform or X Windows platform or Macintosh platform, it is not a problem, but it offers the same interface. It may be any kind of platform, but the browser offers the same interface. That is called the platform transparency. And also the web is not limited to any single platform or machine. The web can be used in any kind of platforms, and the data which is residing in a variety of server platform is available to users. While we search for something, we might have think that it is collected from a single server, but it is not like that. The information will be collected from different server platforms through the same look and feel interface. The second advantage is distribution transparency. Actually, the web is a distributed information system. How we say this? The information which is displayed on the web is collected from different servers. Okay, that's why it is called as a distributed information system. The information stored at a variety of geographically dispersed server platforms. Okay, actually the collected information or the information which is accessed by the users are going to be collected from different servers which is dispersed, which is scattered over the internet. Okay, and it is available to the web users on a single interface window. For example, if a user accesses something over the web, then they may get some information, isn't it, which will be displayed on the screen at front of the user. But actually the displayed information will not be collected from a single server. It has to be collected from different server platforms. The information which is displayed on a browser in a single screen may contain the text which is coming from an IBM server which is located in New York. The same page may also have an image which is from Windows NT server located in Delhi. In case if there is background audio clip which will be from Linux server located in Lucknow. Likewise, the information which is in a single page collected from different locations from different servers. As we said already, the web is distributed nature, isn't it? So that this nature enables it to successfully provide so much information which is stored in thousands of servers located across the globe. Okay, while we take a globe, there might be thousands of servers which is located. From those thousands of servers, a web is going to collect the information and it will display in a single page to the user. This is what called distribution transparency. Next advantage is information type transparency. In a single page, the web offers seamless integration of multiple types of information content. If we see a single page which is displayed in the web, it may have different types of information, isn't it? Not only a text or only an image or only audio. A single page may have different types of information which has seamless integration. The information may contain text, graphics, sound, video, and various other data formats. All these can be integrated and displayed uniformly through the browser interface. A single page itself should have all the types of informations. Everything is going to be integrated uniformly and is going to be displayed in a single page through the browser interface. Okay. As we said already, variety of information which is stored in different servers can be integrated in this web, which is going to be achieved through the hypertext mechanism. Hypertext means nothing but the text which is having the link to move from one point to another point. What is actually the concept of hypertext? It is nothing but instead of sticking to reading text in a linear manner, the important terms can be made rich by adding or linking the explanation to it. Okay. Instead of reading a text as a paragraph, it can be made as rich by providing linking. While we click the link, it may show the explanation for that content. Likewise, we can make it somewhat interactive and attractive to the user called hypertext. For example, HyperCard, which is used on Macintosh platform, Help, which is on MS Windows platform, and then Answer Book, which is used on Sun Microsystems platform. These are the examples for using hypertext concept. In a true sense, we can say that the web is a hypermedia system. Then the next advantage is interactive. As we discussed already, if a page is having different types of information such as text, audio, video, image, likewise, then automatically it will be interactive to the user, isn't it? And also, the information which is browsing on the web is based on selecting and clicking on the links. While we click on any link, it retrieves and offers additional information on the screen. Already there will be links alone. While we click any link, it shows the additional information on the screen. And also the simple interaction on the web supports forms. Forms means nothing but it may have input windows, radio buttons, options list and checkboxes, everything for submitting the data. For example, we can say the application forms any courses or anything else. The form may have the input windows to type the text and radio buttons to select the option, and also there might be option list. From that, user can select their option, and also there will be checkboxes. Likewise, the page may have a different interactive things to make a form interactive or attractive to the user. In this case, web servers can collect the information from the users through the form mechanism, and the collected information can be added to the database and also can be updated, and the web server also may provide customized information depending upon the inputs which is given by the users. Next advantage is dynamic. While users search for something in the browser, it is retrieving the information from different servers and it is stored in a site and offered through the web server. Browser is going to retrieve the information from different servers and it will be stored in a site and offered to the user through the web browser. At any point of time, if any information is updated at the server site, then the user may get the updated information from the browser. Web publishing does not incur any cost of reproducing copies. And also, if any user access for the publication, they may read the latest version on their browser screen. In the sense, there will be frequent updation. That is called dynamic. Next advantage is graphics and navigational. If a text or image or anything displayed with a color, with some animation, then it is called graphics, isn't it? The capability of web is to integrate and display graphics, text and other multimedia formats in color on a same page. This is actually the reason for gaining the popularity over such short span of line. Now web is gaining popularity among the users. It is because of this reason. That is capability to integrate and display graphics, text and other multimedia formats in color on a same page. The information which is on the internet was accessible through command and menu based interface. It can be accessed either by command or menu based interface. That is, clicking on any menus can access the information. And also on the web, anyone can download text or even graphics and then had to invoke appropriate tools to browse the content. The two on separate windows on the screen. The web has also made it possible to browse multimedia information on the same page itself. The hyperlinking mechanism has also reduced the task of navigating through the information to point and click. Hyperlinking is nothing but, as I told you already, the text which is having the link to move from one point to another point. So this kind of mechanism is also reduced the task of navigating from one point to another point, where a user can jump from pages stored on one server to another server just by clicking on the links. So these are some of the advantages which we have seen during the integrating process on the web. Okay. Next, let us see something in depth about web browsers. As we discussed in the previous topic, browser is nothing but a smaller unit of source code or software through which we are going to access the information over the internet. The browser is going to collect the information from different servers and it will display the collected information to the user in a single page as they required. Actually, the users access information from different web servers through a client program called browser, isn't it? As I told you already, a browser is going to access the information from different servers, from which we can say the users are accessing information from web servers. We can say some of the familiar browsers such as Mozilla Firefox, Opera, Internet Explorer, all those are called the familiar browsers. Web server means like Apache. Apache is one of the famous web server. Now Opera is going to collect the information from Apache and it will display it to the user on his platform. If we consider a browser, it is actually responsible for the following task. There are two different tasks. All the browsers are responsible for these two tasks. Okay. The first task of the browser is nothing but it should accept a URL from the user and it has to retrieve the information or document which is specified by the URL. That is the first task of the browser. Then the second task is nothing but it is to interpret a HTML document code, format it accordingly and finally render the document on the screen. In the first task, it may collected the document, but in second task, it should approach the HTML document code to format the document. Okay. According to the HTML document code, the information should be formatted and it should be displayed on the screen. These are the two tasks which should be done by any browser. Let us see in brief about these two tasks. In the first task, the process of retrieving the document, it parses the URL into its components. We said in the first task, it should collect the URL and based on the URL, it should retrieve the document, isn't it? So, retrieve the document based on the URL, the given URL should be parsed into its components, that is the protocol, domain name, port number and document name. We have discussed these things in the previous classes, that is what is URL, what are the things will be included in a URL, isn't it? Accordingly, here the URL needs to be parsed into its components such as protocol, domain name, port number and document name. Okay. Once it gets parsed, the client program connects to the web server specified by the domain name and port number. It is parsed in the previous step where we got the domain name and port number. Based on the domain name and port number, now the client program should be connected to the web server and the subsequent conversation in HTTP retrieves the document. And there is a term called HTTP, that is Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Through that, the specified document will be retrieved. Since the browsers are capable of accepting URLs with other protocols such as FTP, that is File Transfer Protocol, they are conversant with other protocols and retrieval mechanisms as well. That is, they are familiar with other protocols so that easily they can retrieve the information from other protocols also. Generally, browsers deal with HTTP and as a result, retrieve documents written in the hypertext markup language. Actually, the request of information or access of the information and displaying the information, everything is going to be done by HTTP, but the document will be written in the hypertext markup language. This HTML document includes in its structure text, hyperlinks to other documents, images and multimedia information. So web may contain multimedia information so that HTML will be suitable to handle the information on the web. So this is what the first task of any browser, that is it should accept the URL from the user and it should be parsed into its components. From that, using the domain name and port number, it should retrieve the document, and then the retrieved document will be displayed on the screen. The second task is just it is going to display the information on the screen and it should maintain it. That is the second task. How to manage the rendering of various image formats, multimedia information and links to other documents as well. Everything should be managed here under the second task. So these are the two tasks of any browser. Now let us see some of the popular browsers. The earliest most popular browser is called Mosaic. It is a client program for the web, was developed by the National Center for Supercomputing Applications at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. So this is actually was the most popular earliest browser. This Mosaic offered graphical user interface and displayed the text and graphics in full color on the same page. This Mosaic can be used on the platforms called Macintosh, MS Windows and X Windows. Okay, this is available on any of these three platforms. The second popular browser is Netscape. The members of the Mosaic development team founded a company called Netscape Communication Corporation. It has developed a browser called Netscape, was made available free of cost for personal use on the above three platforms, which you have seen already, that is MS Windows, X Windows, Macintosh. The same three platforms can also be used by Netscape browser. But the Netscape browser became the most popular browser within a year of its release. Within a year of its release, it gets popular because of its nature. And also it was given free of cost for personal use. It was later acquired by America Online and still remains one of the two major web browsers in the internet space. Next famous browser is Internet Explorer of Microsoft, based on the Mosaic source code. Okay, like Netscape, the Internet Explorer has been defining, creating and offering up-to-date features and is available for MS Windows, Macintosh and Unix environments. So these are the three environments where the Internet Explorer will be available. For the MS Windows environment, it is usually available as a part of preloaded software. For the MS Windows environment only, it will be preloaded software. It will be already loaded in the MS Windows environment. That is nothing but if you get a new device, there will be some preloaded softwares, that is applications, isn't it? So likewise, if it is MS Windows environment, there will be Internet Explorer. The next one, a browser called Lynx, was developed by the University of Kansas. Lynx that lets you access the basic information and supports hyperlinks, and also it is used for the text-only internet connections. It is mainly used for the basic information, and also this Lynx supports hyperlinks. Okay, the Lynx browser offers navigation through the use of arrow keys. But in the previous browsers, we can have the navigation by clicking any link or any image or anything else. But here in Lynx, the navigation will be achieved by using the arrow keys. So these are some of the commonly used or famous browsers. Okay. So today in this class, we have discussed about the information publishing and web browsers, isn't it? I hope you will be clear on these two concepts. Let us see in next class. Thank you.